So I think we're good now. I'm here with Nathan Wilkerson.
Yep.
And how's it going, Nathan?
Going pretty good. Yeah.
Hopefully, you all can see Nathan in the lower left hand corner and me in the right hand corner. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. Nathan makes these, creates these extensions for SketchUp. And so, what I wanted to do, I thought it would be fun because I've been wanting to pick his brain a little bit and at the same time also show some of the new features that you just came out with, which I think are pretty cool. And I also hope that I can learn something about a little bit about workflow. I know you don't have all day, but I, I just thought I would try to pick your brain while you're here. But why don't
Oh,
you, can you tell a little bit about yourself? And I'll check.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm well, by trade, I'm actually an engineer. I started out as a mechanical engineer, and then did a lot of work in aerospace initially, and then kind of as I worked in aerospace, I started working on more structural type stuff. I guess if that's the right word. And I kind of slowly evolved where my interests became more structural engineering, and then from there it kind of evolved more into I guess structural engineering with residential structures, mostly wood. And so I don't know, it just I guess I kind of got tired of the aerospace industry, and eventually I started my own structural engineering firm after I got my license, and I did that for quite a few years actually. Well, I guess since about 2012 I've been working doing my own structural engineering firm, mostly like I said, doing residential structures. um, and out on the west coast of Washington, where I was living, there's not a lot of designers out there. So even though I was doing a lot of structural engineering, I ended up doing a lot of house designs and shed designs and that sort of thing, just because people would tap me for doing the design work as well as the engineering. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess, my background as far as how I eventually got into developing these plugins. And and I started actually working on the truss plugin about I think it was October 2015 is when I quite actually by accident, really, I started mucking around with the SketchUp API, and one thing kind of led to the other.
I was trying to go to your website and I went to the
Oh,
some
yeah,
weird.
Medeek.
What in the world? Why am I? Why did I misspell it? All the times I've been there and I misspelled it.
You're fine.
But
Uh,
I
so,
put a link. I put a link in the description of the video, and
uh,
but are you still like practicing now?
so yes, I'm still licensed in the state of Washington. I was licensed in the state of Utah as well, but I just hadn't done enough work in Utah, so I let my license in Utah lapse simply because it wasn't worth it for me to renew it. But since then, well, actually, right before COVID hit, I came down here to be with my wife and kids and in Utah, and then COVID hit, and then I've kind of been here ever since. So permanently, I'm going to end up here in Utah or somewhere else. I'm not in Washington anymore. Unfortunately, the weather's there is nice in the summers, I will say. So
Oh, you're not in Washington now. You're
no, currently, no. I'm actually in Utah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish you
So,
were here because I worked for, well, I didn't work for him. I would do some drawing work for an old gentleman. Well, he wasn't old when I first met him 30 years ago. But he's retired now. And I used to do some drawing work for him. And then in return, he would help me with some structural stuff and get small drawings stamped and all that kind of stuff. But he's
okay.
retired now, and I don't even have a contact anymore for that kind of thing. But anyway, what I thought I would do uh, is kind of explain to you what I used to do, and honestly, some of the habits I still have, like I just drew this little shed thing here just for an example.
Yep.
And I still do this. I draw these in 2 dimensions, right? And I
Mm,
keep that as a reference the whole project, right? So And
Right.
I might send the customer a floor plan like this. Let me unselect it so it won't be blue. But and get it kind of roughed out, and then I would come back. And as I'm doing this too, if I want you to be my teacher, and explain to me all this time you could have been, or give me pointers. But what I want to eventually get to is the extension. But what I would
Right.
do is I would do this, and then I would bring up, I would bring it up to 8 foot 1 1/8 or whatever, and I would put my doors and windows in, and I
Hmm.
would kind of consider that my schematic mode. But I would put these in layers, right? So um, when I got ready to do a floor plan, in layout, it would basically be, I'm in this weird sort of style here, but it would be in like a construction, and then I would take it into layout, and this would literally. I think my workflow is different than probably a lot of people's, because, and that's kind of the goal. I was kind of hoping to show like your extension and a few features, and then you help me, and I think it might help other people to realize that there's still there's not a disconnect, but we think there's a disconnect between the paper space and the model space. In AutoCAD, we used to call it model space and paper space, right?
Right. Yeah.
Layout was, now layout, the software that comes with SketchUp Pro, is our paper space, and this is our model space. But
Yep.
so what I thought I would do, and you can talk. I don't want to be the one to be talking the whole time. But what I thought I would do is just run some walls around.
Hmm.
This is your, obviously this is your Medeek wall. If people saw me bring that
Yep.
down, and I'm just going to leave it in this typical default. Now, one thing I've never done is I've never actually gone in and set up like my own custom own wall types. And I knew I was going to make mistakes while I was doing this because you're watching me. But as a matter of fact, I'm just going to redo that because I don't want people to think it's weird. But one thing I'm guilty of, and I was going to ask you about this, is just to get started.
Hmm.
I would just do this, right? I would just
Yep. Yep.
go and let me get around here. And I guess I want to go. I want to go
You
that.
want to that note. You want to get to the corner of the framing there.
Let me undo that.
Look at
What?
that other
Okay,
wall
so
in the corner.
what I normally do. This. I knew this was going to come up. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, you missed
I
that
knew I
corner.
was going to make mistakes
Uh,
while we were doing this,
Take your time.
because you're the creator of it, and it's like you're like the teacher, and you're doing a test.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quiz.
Yeah. Don't let me make you nervous.
The reason I'm not used to what I normally do is I'll offset a line a half inch uh,
Right.
in, so that my sheeting
Is
is
is,
is
is on
because
the
when we're building, we pop our lines at 4 inches if we got a 2x4 wall, right? Because
right.
we want the OSB, the sheeting, to be flush with the frame. We don't want it sticking over. That's how we do it locally anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm not. That's why when I came to that last corner, I was like, "Oops! Now what do I do?" But so I'm going here and here, going here, and now don't I want to go to here?
Yeah. You always want to go to the outside corner of that framing, not the sheathing or the cladding, just the
That's
framing.
right,
Yep.
and that's why my
And then
siding was hanging over just there.
and then yeah, and just end with hitting your space bar, and that bumps you right out of the tool.
Okay,
And
and that's one thing I always fail to do. Like sometimes I'll hit escape or something. I've
yeah.
gotten into the habit of doing that.
Yeah.
And one thing I am happy about, I wish I had done this before I started, was the way you went in and added the materials. Now here's a question I have for you starting right off the bat.
Hmm.
Um, um, And if I'm doing this in a terrible order, you just tell me, because I want this. I want your extensions to be represented well, and I don't want to misrepresent the. I certainly don't want to make them look bad. So if I, what I should have done really is set up that. Like if
You're cladding.
yeah, if I want that, if I want, now this is one thing I always tell people, look, this is great because you can edit this wall now, right? So I'm going to go in here and pick out the ArtisanTony special. And now, one question I have is, oh, that's the shiplap, isn't it? What happened?
Yeah, you grab the shiplap there on the menu.
What in
Yeah,
the
you
world? I went ahead.
changing it all you like. You got shiplap, rustic. You got.
Oh, there it is. I just didn't scroll down far enough. This is the one I like because it's nice and simple, and it gives me my lines that I want. And on one of the things I run into is, and you can tell me this is a bad workflow issue that I have. Whenever I do my drawings, I'll use this hidden line style so that I actually have so that I have black and white on my paper. My construction documents are black and white, but I get lines, I get geometry there, right?
Yeah, I know that, and that's the big problem. Initially when I started these wall plugins, I was afraid to do like a 3D geometry for the cladding, simply because I thought, it's going to make the model so heavy, and certainly it does. It does make it more heavy because you've got a lot more polygons, right? But as time, 5 years down the road, I'm like, let's just do it, because there are people that really need that, and it has been. It's not just you, mind you. There's been plenty of users complaining to me saying, "Hey, I really would like you to have this 3D geometry on the cladding." So and that's why I've added them recently, because I just thought,
Well, I think that's great, and I don't think people understand how big that is because.
Now let me show you something here. This could be interesting. So you've got the other two walls, right? That have not. Honestly, I have not actually tried this yet. Since I've introduced this cladding option, but go up to the extensions. Normally, I'm used to seeing like all the toolbars, but I can see you've hid them all, which is fine. Everybody has, they don't want to get their workspace too crowded. Go to the Medeek wall one there, and then let's see. Go to the. I think it's not the estimating.
Global settings.
Medeek wall tools.
Okay.
Wall tools. Okay.
Which I use a bunch.
So notice the copy wall tool right there at the bottom.
Oh my goodness! You're going to answer the question I had right now.
Click on that one. Let's try this out. Now, click on the wall that has that new cladding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then scroll down. Scroll down on the menu.
Right here.
Yeah, scroll down. And honestly, I haven't actually tried this with this new cladding, so I don't know if it'll work. So it might blow up in our face.
Can I click?
Click the little checkbox where it says cladding material.
Cladding material.
Wall cladding material, right there. No, you right in front of you. You had your mouse there. Wall cladding material, where it says lap.
Oh, right here.
Lap.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's what I was going to click to begin with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was looking for the word cladding material.
Okay. Walk up. Hit update on the little top up there.
Okay.
Okay. Now go ahead and click that wall with the green one on
it. My God. This is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
Now go ahead and close out. Get your space bar. Close out the menu. Do whatever you need.
You just created a black hole, because you see, one thing I was going to ask you is is there a way to create wall types? Because like in architecture, when we're doing drawings, we'll draw a little symbol. That's a wall type. Right? That hatch that I put indicates a type, and I didn't know if there was a way so that I could just go and click on all the walls and say, edit. But that's not, and I knew that wasn't allowed. But that was my next question, and that you just answered it.
Well, I've got that copy wall tool, which kind of helps what you're trying to do. But I have been considering the multi-edit wall thing, which you actually just tried to do now, which it wouldn't allow you. So I am still giving that some more thought.
You know what
And
would be cool though is if you could establish like, and I don't know how y'all do it in engineering, but in architecture, what we would do is we would establish. You see this wall top here. I know
Mhm.
that's interior, exterior, all that, but we would have wall top A, wall top B, and it would
Right.
have preset parameters, right?
Well, you
So
do have the
then,
wall.
so,
Yeah.
so then you could just go around and pick walls, you know,
And, and
context,
assign it to
and,
that
and
preset.
assign it to a wall top. That would be cool. But I'm not certainly not trying to add to your workload. What you just showed me is a godsend because I literally on one house, the lady kept changing her mind, and I had to
Yeah.
go, you know, and I had to keep going around. But that was not the siding; it was the heights.
Yeah.
She first wanted an 8 foot ceiling height, and then I had to go change it to 9 foot, and I
Well,
had like 30 walls to do. You know.
yeah, no, that's where it becomes a real pain is when, it's one thing when you got 4 walls, but you got 30 walls and, changing just even one parameter, it's going to take you half the day just to do that.
Yeah. So the other question I had here is now for people who don't know, I'm putting in this door, but
Mhm.
and that's why I leave my construction lines in because it helps me put my doors and windows in.
Yep,
Uh,
absolutely.
Now let me close this. Um, One thing I need to do is get into a habit because I'm always doing this kind of stuff manually. Is going ahead and setting up the tops. I do have some set here. It looks like, and getting into a habit of getting these parameters the way I want them for my standard, what I consider a standard door.
Right.
And just to let people know you can do that and save them. And that's a big thing on the Windows because, and you'll notice I'm bad about hitting. So if I'm in that door mode, I hit spacebar and it goes away. Okay, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. When you come from an AutoCAD environment, you're probably used to hitting the escape key,
I do.
which
That's what I do for everything. Yeah.
and honestly, that's what I've done for years. And so it was very non-intuitive for me
But
to
see,
have to hit the
and
space bar. But you just got to get used to it. That's the way
and
SketchUp is.
people think because I've been using SketchUp since 2006, I've gotten rid of my old habits, but I
Yeah,
haven't.
yeah, you're right. It kind of gets ingrained in you after a while, and you're like, and
And here's
yeah.
one of the coolest things under the wall tools is delete opening. I'm going to show this to people since I accidentally put a door there. And
Hmm.
that's the sin you create when you don't hit the space bar. Is like I'm going sometimes when I'm moving my cursor around, I'll accidentally put a door or a window someplace. Because I don't notice I'm doing it. It's funny because sometimes there'll be a window someplace. I'm like, how'd that get there? But
Right.
but let me go in. The other thing I was going to ask you. So this would work. Because see, the other thing we have are window types that we do sometimes and I do have my windows set so that I don't have shutters and all that.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
All that.
cool. But to let people know, if when you're doing the windows and doors, uh, you can set up. And I think here we go. I got 3046, 3030, 2020. So you can set all these parameters, and then if I wanted a kitchen window, I would load that, and that should. How do I do? Well, it not okay. So I have to load it before I start because see, it's still the other size window.
Okay. Okay. So hold on. Notice down below, right there, where it says Advanced Options,
Uh huh.
and for some reason, I'm not sure what's going on there. Have you recently upgraded the plugin?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. You okay? So, and I don't know when you created these window presets. But sometimes when you upgrade from an older version, the one that's maybe 3, 4 months older, um, I've made so many changes to, and this was actually about a month ago. I really changed a lot of the underlying, I don't know, I guess code behind some of this. So you might want to recreate. Go ahead and try to load one of those
I
again.
was
Let me
going
see
to
that.
try to load it before I did
Okay.
anything.
Now notice how the interior casing right there is blank, that drop down box.
Oh,
So that's an immediate red flag to me. that's telling me that something is wrong with that preset. It's probably
Oh, I should
not.
just do away with. Is there a way to
It's
delete them?
Yeah, you can delete. So what I would recommend doing is delete all those presets and then recreate them new, because it looks to me like you may have an issue with a compatibility issue or something going on.
And that's fine.
And
I just wanted people to know that once you
yeah,
get those preset, once you get those set, it's really
right.
handy because you don't have to manually go in here and
Edit them every time.
yeah,
Right. Exactly. No, and
yeah.
typically I try to keep compatibility, but like I said, there's been a tremendous number of updates to the wall plugin in the last few months, and it just sometimes the little bit of the compatibility has been broken a little bit. And the main reason is just because in the code, I don't want to get my code really bloated with trying to maintain backward compatibility, and so sometimes I have to break it just to keep things kind of clean in the code base. And it's better for everybody in the end because performance is good. I can develop things quicker, but again, sometimes there is those issues. But you typically I try to let people know. And actually, that was one of the things I thought I should mention to you while I'm on this vein, is that you definitely want to, if you're using the plugins actively and they are part of your workflow, I think it'd be very wise to follow on either on my forum or on the SketchUp forums, because I'm typically posting every single day. Like, I'm posting updates. I mean, I'm actively working on these
What
plugins every.
forum? When you say your forum, which one is that?
Okay, so if you go to the Medeek site, yeah, go to the resources.
Let's see. Let me get
Top,
this. I don't know why it's at 200% here. Okay,
yeah,
here we
go to
go.
the resources there. Okay, and then notice right there on the sub menu, right under login, it says forum.
Okay.
Yeah, click on that, and then so I will post all my posts here. So you can basically watch this, and you can see what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm literally posting here every single day. So, like, for instance, scroll down to the truss plugin here. Click on the truss plugin one. Where'd
Oh,
it
right
go?
there.
Yeah, right there. And then click that development updates. So this thread is real active. So is the wall one. Um, yeah, and then obviously got to scroll to the bottom of this, and
Right.
you can configure this so you can so the
That's pretty
top
cool. Let me go back to the main form here, home, and I'm going to bookmark it. So,
yeah.
because I always remember better this way.
And
What
also
was
too,
that?
I'm also posting the same content on the SketchUp forums, because there's a large audience there as well. So
Right.
if you go to the forum, I think it's
Oh, I've
forum.sketchup.com.
got that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm basically posting the same content there. I just duplicate it on my own forum just to create my own breadcrumb trail. For whatever reason, if SketchUp website goes away, or I don't know, or not goes away, but I mean, I like to have my own copy as well. So
So now the big question. Okay, well, real quick, and I think I know the answer to this, but let me just ask anyway. Are there, like, if I go in, so there's no way to do like window types either, right? So if I go, does the copy thing work for Windows too, or just for What's my example there?
Oh, so if you're trying to copy over, yeah. So I do not have a window copy tool or a door copy tool yet. I have actually, it is on my to-do list. So, basically, I call it like the eyedropper tool, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
that's cool. That would be cool because if we had, because what people are infamous for doing is
yeah,
making their windows shorter or taller. They hardly ever change the width, but it's like I think I want my windows 5 feet tall,
right,
and
right.
so I have to go. I go in now. I'm not complaining certainly because obviously it's easy to do. I just go to edit opening, right,
Yeah.
and one
Well,
okay.
you clicked into the group. You gotta
Oh,
get
wait a
outside.
minute. That was my fault. I was going to say, what I was going to ask you is if there was a way to, quit clicking Tony. That's my, so let
I,
me
you
go.
know, well, here's one other thing I'm gonna do. Notice how you have to click that edit opening, and that automatically opens up the edit menu. I think what I am going to do is add in one other tool where you can click into the group, and then you can click the separate window and door. Because you'll notice, go ahead and click into the group for a second. Let me show you something. When you click into the group, you'll notice that each one of these windows and doors is within its own subgroup, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then if you click in the group and you then right click on one of those subgroups, go ahead and right click on it. It probably won't.
You said right click.
Yeah, just right click. So notice nothing pops up like edit window or anything.
Edit
so
group, yeah.
I think what I can do is I will make it so that you can right click it within the group and then go right to the edit menu. See what I'm saying?
That would be cool.
Yeah,
The other thing I thought was, you know what?
Yeah.
Whatever I thought too was, can you make and this may be too far out there. Can you make the actual window somehow a component so that if I'm using that same type, that each window I place is a component, so that if I say they want to, change, they want me to add a mullion or something in here, and so that if I do that, then all the other windows get mullions all of a sudden. I guess
and that's more. I'm going to keep them groups because the problem with components is I have some issues with components, but that's more of a different talk.
Okay.
Components, but no, what that tool would be like the copy tool, or the eyedropper tool. So I know what you're saying. I think it would be very convenient to have that same ability, not just for walls, but also for windows, doors, garage doors. And so, no,
because what we run into, especially in residential, is you'll ask people and you'll say, think about this, think about what you want for your windows, and then you'll meet with them a week later and they'll tell you, and then you'll go through all this trouble, and then immediately when they see it, they go, I think I want them a little taller.
Yeah.
So,
and it would be really nice if you could just, click on one window and get the height from it, and then just go around the whole building and click a bunch more, and boom.
Yeah.
Updated.
But what I want to do is show them. Oh, I know what. Let me ask you this before I move to the roof. Okay.
Yeah.
Workflow big time question. Okay. And I've never explored or properly used the 2-dimensional aspect. So let me just do an example right quick. If I want to do a floor plan, say I wanted to get away from doing my 2-dimensional floor plan.
Right.
Okay. And I do this, and I grab this, and I want to move it down to where. What am I doing? Why am I not cutting through? What am I doing? Am I inside a group or something?
No, you're not.
That was weird. Why is it not cutting through? Okay, now it's going to work because it's cut the whole building. Okay, this is what I want. Because we normally put the cut line right there, but right below the header, right?
Right.
Okay, so if I go up here and I say, do away with the planes, I got my top view, I do my parallel projection. Okay,
yeah.
So how do so that's my impression of what I would do, but now I don't like all the studs showing, I just want it to look like a normal. So let me ask you this. I noticed. So let me undo all that. So obviously that's not the best option because you're completely silent on it.
There are people who do just cut the model and essentially use that as their,
But I noticed, the one thing I did notice is that I can turn this into, where was it I saw? Oh, right here. This is what brought this to my 2D. Oh, okay. So, you see, if I turn all these walls into 2D walls, what does it look like? Okay. Now I do this. I get my thing. I get my view. So, what's wrong with this picture? There's nothing wrong with this picture.
Well,
you see what my question? My question is, how can I use your extension?
Well, first of all, you're going to want to create scenes, right? You want to create different scenes.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
no. And so what? Basically, there's a couple ways. There's multiple ways you can do things. But one thing I have included is if you want to. Obviously, sometimes you want when you change that to a 2D wall, it literally takes that whole assembly, that wall assembly, and and changes it to a 2D assembly, and it's the 3D is no longer there in the model, right? Which
Okay, that's the problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then of course you can
Yeah.
regen it, put it back in. Another thing you can do is if you do like using the cutaway idea, you can change the wall from a 3D to no framing. So go ahead and do the no framing
Oh,
option.
that was my next question. And
Yeah.
what
So
I should have done was, let's do that. Let me go back
well,
to where I actually had a cut. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and
See,
that's no, that's fine.
I'm a bad
But
student. I'm a bad student. I'll be quiet.
no, and that's one option. But there is yet another option. Let me show you
Okay.
the other option. Let me show you this
No
other option.
framing. Do them all that way. Let's see. I can do them all that way.
No, just leave it as it is right now. Leave it
Okay.
as it. Go up to the extensions tool menu option up there. Okay, and then scroll down to the Medeek wall global settings. Yeah, go to global settings. Okay, so what I want to show you here is if you look at this menu, it's rather complicated. There's a lot going on here. So you gotta pay attention to all these little details because some of them you might miss, right? Right under appearance, right in the middle, under there's a 2D geometry in 3D. Okay, go ahead and turn that on. Okay, then go scroll down and click Save Settings. Okay, so what that does actually, go ahead and you can close that out.
Okay.
What that actually does is now go ahead and regen one of those walls.
This one or
yeah,
either one.
Regen wall assembly. Okay, now if you turn off the wall framing layer or tag, let's see if we can do that.
Right here.
Yeah, turn that one off. Go and then scroll.
Take off the sheeting too, maybe.
Yeah, you can take off the sheeting and whatever, and
Cladding.
just zoom in close. And I want you to show you something here. So notice that the 2D is there drawn as well. So basically, what's happening is you've now told the plugin, I want to draw the 3D, but I also want to draw the 2D. And if you notice the wall 2D layer tag, if you turn that off, you'll turn off the 2D representation, or you should.
See.
I don't know what that is.
Let's see.
Let's see here. It could be under wall. It should be under wall 2D. I'm not sure why it's not. But you can see that is drawn, right?
Yeah, and I would obviously this wouldn't be here, so there would be kind of this.
So what you can do then is you can change the visibility on your different scenes, and so you can keep the 3D geometry and the 2D geometry in your overall model.
Right.
Yeah. So then you can use 2D in whatever scene where you're just wanting to show the floor plan.
And just to give, I'm just going to do a quick, just to give people a quick. I'm just going to say scene A, or I'll just leave it at scene 1. How about that? I'll update this, and then I'll go and we'll create another scene called scene 2, and then we'll go to our tags and we'll turn off the cladding, framing, sheeting.
Yeah, turn off the sheathing, turn off the trim, turn off the door and windows.
Yeah. And one thing I want to tell people is this seems like a lot of tags and a lot of layers, and I'm saying this for people like me who thought this was crazy in the beginning. It's a curse and a blessing to have this many tags. Okay, to have this kind of control is better than you think. So don't freak out.
Turn off the wall door one as well.
When you see this, when you see all these tags and layers, just get used to it because then you'll enjoy it later on. So then I would update that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show this to people. So now I've got that scene, and now
go back to that. Now this layer here. Go ahead and regen all those walls. Go back to scene
this
one.
Yeah.
Scene 1. Regen all your walls just so we get all the
Let's see. Can I grab them multiple to regen?
I think so.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, now go
So,
back to scene 2, and now
yeah,
notice you got your 2D representation
let me let
on
me
that scene.
let me.
So
I'm gonna
basically, you got
delete that just to show people.
right, and you probably want to turn on. Let's see, do we have the symbols one? No. Turn off the door hardware too.
Oh
I just
yeah, that's right.
door
Oh, that's an
HW.
actual knob sticking up in the air. I thought that was
Yeah,
the.
door HW is the one.
Oh, that's
It's
right. That's door HW. Yeah, there it
just
is.
stands for door
There we
hardware.
go. There we go.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah,
would just update that scene. And of course,
right,
it would be, if we were doing a floor plan, we'd have it set to there, and then the camera view would be parallel projection, and you'd set up your whatever, and then you'd update that.
right.
And then, if you wanted to go back and work on it,
Then you can work
then
on it
you,
here.
I usually set up a scene called work, and it's all the layers I have, turned on where I like to work. And
Yeah,
also I actually even have a style. I like to work in this style because it's not as bright, it's not as hard on your eyes.
right.
And then when I get ready for construction drawings, time when I get ready to print or whatever, this, then I would go
Go
to
to a
this
different style.
this
Yeah,
style and update it. I was just wanting to show people that you can, update because I'm kind of assuming that maybe some new people might be watching too at the same time. So there's that. And then
so,
one of the coolest things I always thought was cool was the delete guides thing to get rid of all of them at the same time. But
I'm noticing I don't. Let me look at your Windows. I noticed your window callouts you don't have turned on. I mean, granted, you can do whatever.
where let me go back to that
Go to
global
global
settings.
settings. We'll check that out. Where is it? Oh, callouts in 3D mode. Turn that on for a second. I just want to
Where is that
see.
now?
Under annotations, the second one down.
Okay. Call
Yeah,
it.
turn that one back on for a second, and
Oh, I
then
know
hit.
why I don't like that because
Maybe you don't like
the
that.
text shows up in your drawing. I don't
Yeah.
like that roof roof A or whatever. Or am I just imagining? Uh,
Go. Well, you can turn off the tags, but yeah, refresh those again. I don't. Yeah. Okay. So there. So and then let's look inside
oh
here. I just
yeah,
want to.
I see what you're saying. You'd want
Yeah.
that
So
on
you
your two
want that
dimensional.
now? That's showing on your and
Yeah.
those labels and stuff. They're on separate layers too on tags, so you can turn those on or off or whatever to your liking,
But
right?
see, when you get to my wish list, you see, those would be types. That would be window type A, window type A, window type B,
Right.
and
Right.
then once you get to your drawings, you would have a window schedule, a window type schedule, and it would just
Right.
have your elevation. But anyway,
But if you go to the tags, you can turn those off. I think they're all in the symbol layer now. I moved them onto their own symbol or on their own tag layer. I think it's wall symbol. Is it wall symbol or wall dim
yeah.
layer? Which one
Oh
it is?
wait, what's that wall symbol? Why did it go? It didn't. That's weird. Let me go back to
Yeah.
the. Let me go back to the.
I don't know what the div.
Let me turn this on and see what wall symbol does.
Oh, I see. There's other layers down here. Go to the no. Look, there's a whole bunch of wall dim layers, the dim dimension layers down below that you haven't got them grouped in there.
Oh,
Uh,
that yeah, because
yeah. Go back to scene 2 for a second. Let's play with those just a little bit. I just want to show you those. Oh, so if you now listen, if you click the wall underscore 2D, I bet that's the one I was trying to talk to you before about.
I wonder why there's
Yeah.
two.
Well, I don't know why there's 2 of them there, but one of them is not the right one. It looks like, or it doesn't. It's
Well,
not active.
this might go back to, you see, this might go back to, I need to create a new template because what I did was I created a template, and what I did, I went and put all your tags in the template drawing.
Okay,
So that, because when it does that, it automatically puts it. I don't right. So if I already have these layers in here, these tags,
I see.
it won't create new ones out here. Does that make
Right,
sense?
right. You should.
Now I can't put that in the wall though, can I? That's weird. Did that mean that deleted it?
No.
Because
Okay, turn the visibility on and off. I don't know what that was. That was a little weird.
so what I may do is create a new template because what I'll do is I'll start out with I have my own little scheme here. Like one is site, two is foundation, three is
Right.
floor, and that's
Yeah.
a new function. Was that 2021 that we can do folders?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's a really convenient. It's really nice. I
and
really
so
love
I
that.
love that because this to me is a lot easier to work with.
Yeah.
With that. But
But yeah, I mean, I got it set up where everything is pretty much on. There's a lot of granularity as far as layers and tags go, and so if in the global settings, maybe you should show that real quick. I just want to talk about that real quick. Go up to the extensions, go to the global settings one more time, and then let me go to the layers tab. It's the second one over. So you can. Okay, that's why okay. I'm not sure why that one's blank.
which one?
That the symbol layer. Go ahead and put something in there. I don't know why that's blank, but
Well,
um,
it's probably because at one point in time I deleted it all because
okay.
and what I did was because this is my knee jerk reaction was oh that's too many layers, but now I'm back in the
Yeah,
school of
I think you might have a space in front. No, yeah, you want to get rid of that space
oh
in
that's
front there.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hit save settings there. I mean, you can. But the cool thing is you can customize this, to your heart's content, and so
And
it gives
now
you the flexibility to do whatever you need to do.
before I forget, I want to let people know that once you make those changes in the global settings, you can regenerate your walls, and it will apply to that.
Right.
It'll
Then it'll
reapply it to the wall. So that's
right.
really
So
cool.
that's true. You always want to, if once you've made a bunch of changes in global settings, regen those walls, and
Now,
then it will update them.
how would I get? Are those dimensions actual dimensions, or are they dimensions that display while you're working? That's what I couldn't figure out on the dimension. Like I can't. There's there's no. You can't. You're not going to display the dimensions for these walls and windows and doors.
So
That's
you mean like auto dimensioning of all where everything's laid out?
yeah. Because when I first saw this wall dimension, I thought, well, how do I get? There's no. That's just.
Well, I
Uh,
don't. uh, I do have 4 different dimensioning layers automatically set
but
up.
the right. But when what I'm talking about is that dimensioning is not that dimensioning I'm seeing right now.
Right.
That dimensioning won't be. You can't turn that on as a feature.
So I haven't got what I call floor plan dimensioning set up yet. That is something I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to do.
Oh, and that's
But
fine. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't
but let
confusing those
me
two.
if you are doing like these guys, I did set something up though for the guys that are doing what do they call it? Where they're prefabbing the walls.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I don't. Have you played with that at all? Probably not.
Prefabbing. You're talking about. Well,
So
I'm
basically,
a contractor, so when you say prefabbing walls, I'm talking about in real life. What do you mean in?
let's show you. Go to the global settings real quick. We'll turn it on and we'll see what you think about this.
Okay.
Go. Yeah, back there. Okay, so where did I put it here? Okay, so auto dimensions. That's over on the third column there. Okay, notice where it says auto dimensions, framing dimensions. You there?
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, turn that on. Okay,
Huh.
and then settings. Okay, so this is another feature, but again, it's mostly for the guys that are like prefabbing walls. So regen that wall, that front wall, especially just the front wall's fine.
Oh, I see. Oh, I
Yeah,
see. I see what you mean. So they'll have their. Yeah, I got it now.
and you can hide. Some guys use this, and then they in some scenes they hide all those dimensions. They just basically hide tag, turn off that layer or tag. But yeah, it spits out.
And that's that. I don't
Try,
understand how. What are all the different dim
well,
two,
try
dim
try
three?
try turn them on and off one at a time, and we'll see what happens. I
Okay,
can't really. That turns off that one.
that's the
Uh,
Windows.
yeah, that's not that one. Yeah,
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
it. Wall
So
dim
wall
four. Okay,
layers.
so that you could name it anything. That's just a default name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a default
yeah.
name that I'm just I don't know. So yeah, I mean, but basically what they'll do then is they'll do different scenes where they're showing the elevation view for that wall panel. and then they're going to use those dimensions, and they'll turn off the framing and the clad.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So what you might have is a view where you
Yeah,
had the turn off the cladding and the sheeting
right,
and
exactly.
the windows and the doors. What is the doors? Why am I
Yeah,
having a hard time with the doors all of a
it's up
sudden?
there. It's up
There it
there.
is. And
Yeah,
then the trim,
right.
and then you got this. Maybe you're doing a. Of course, you turn off. Well, I've done this before for people, and I actually put the wall. I exploded the walls and put them in different layers,
Yeah.
so
Well,
that.
actually, there's a tool for that too. There's actually a tool for that.
So
Click
then now where's that layer again where I turn the dimensions
all
back
dim
on?
floor. All dim floor.
Dim four. That's
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, but actually, let me show you this real quick. So this is, and specifically, this was built for the guys that are manufacturing the wall panels. Go back up to the extension menu. Sorry, we're kind of getting off the unbeaten path
No,
here.
that's okay. This is the kind of stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah,
So.
so it's kind of it is kind of interesting, I guess. If you go to Medeek documents down below, click
Uh-oh,
scroll.
we're really in territory I'm not familiar with now.
Yeah, you click on scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, don't worry about the create floor plan. I don't think that one's. Click select all. Okay, so now what it's done, it's selected all 4 of the wall panels that you have in the model. It's basically searching for whatever wall panels it has. And then basically we're just going to leave that create framing elevations checked, and then just hit create scenes. Create scenes.
Oh.
Okay. Now go ahead and close this out. Hit your space bar, whatever.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, now go
Oh my
wall
gosh.
10.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow. You know what? You just earned a
Now,
gold star.
now go to wall 11.
Oh my
Maybe
goodness. Yeah, and I just got to turn this.
normally it will turn all those layers off, but for whatever reason it didn't.
It's because it's my new custom siding. That's what it.
It might be that, I don't know. But go. I want to look at the front wall though. That's the one that's of interest. Click on
Clad. Let me turn this clad on. I just want to show people you're just controlling. Why can't I just? Oh, that's weird. Is that not wall sheeting turned off? What is that? Oh, that's the wall that's got. I've got the framing turned off on. All right. So
yeah.
which one do you want to look at?
Let's look at that front.
And we'll
Okay,
turn
so
the
now go ahead and
sheeting,
turn off your sheathing.
the cladding,
Yeah.
windows and doors,
Doors. You get rid of all that. Just leave the skeleton there, basically.
trim.
Yeah.
Where's the door? There we go.
Or
Now, and then you would set up. And of course, I always have the axis turned off in my.
right.
In my.
But now you can see you can use that to quickly generate. I mean, honestly, I like doing my dimensioning in layout per se, but these are what I call model dimensions. They're actually created within the model itself.
It's not bad because you could actually. The worst case scenario, if I had a customer who wanted this, I would just freaking do a shift print screen and send it to him as an image, right? Because you're right, these dimensions don't show up well in layout, but probably by design, right? I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but they're real faint and they don't really show up very well.
If they ever give me if SketchUp will give me a real-time API into layout, then I obviously would work on that. But right now, the best I have is basically putting the dimensions in the model, because that's where I can automatically populate it, like this. So anyways, just another thing maybe it looks like you weren't aware of, but you've got that feature there if you need it.
No, this is huge because all these people I've got several customers who are building their own homes. And I had to manually do this, that's pretty huge. I mean, because all you're really doing is, turn off some layers, and then you've got a view.
Right.
Just setting up views takes time, right?
You can basically achieve this manually. It's just just automatically creates the parallel projection scene of each wall facing from the exterior of the wall. And and if you have the dimension option turned on, then it'll also throw all those dimensions in there with, where all your
No,
walls
it's
and
also just a quick. If you're in a meeting with a customer like I am a lot like we are now,
right.
it's easy to just produce this, and then they can, and because that's the number one question I have. How do I frame my walls? That's the number one question. I swear, with customers who are trying to build their own homes,
Build their own,
that's
yeah, yeah.
it. That's the number one question, and that's really
Hmm.
cool. So if I go back to scene one now and I turn off them for
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to, I'll just if you don't mind, just a few more minutes of, I wanted to show, I just wanted to put a quick roof on here. One thing I'm surprised about is I'm not sure what's going on the internet, but I usually have at least a few people asking questions, and this is weird that there's nobody in here. I've been checking for comments, because I wanted people, if they had questions, they'd be able to ask you. And
Oh, okay.
that's strange. But anyway, it's almost like they are announcing aliens or something while we're talking. Let's see. Let's go to roof truss. And I love your roof truss extension because nobody has this ability to have all these different trusses in there. But we'll just pick this one. And I usually just go to the framing, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's what we would do in real life. And for some, I just need to let you know my eyes are not that good, and that's why sometimes you'll see me kind of poking around for a point. Is I have to kind of focus on the point for a second. So this
Right.
is the roof. I call it's the truss extension, but really it's an entire roof system.
Well, it's
and
it's getting there. Yeah, it certainly is
yeah,
getting
and
there.
so we got that, and then I'm just going to go through here,
Yeah, I think.
and yes, I'm just gonna say submit, and so bam, we got ourselves a roof.
Yeah.
And what was my question about? Um, oh, I know what it was. On these gable ends, can
Hmm.
you on this siding for the gable, there's not a vertical offset for that, is there?
So here's what's I'm going to I basically need to, like, all these 3D geometries that you have with the cladding,
Uh huh.
in the wall plugin. I basically need to update the truss plugin now so it has all those claddings available to it. Because obviously you're going to want those two to match, right?
Oh yeah,
So
and I can, and that's okay. I mean, I can fudge that for now.
right,
What I'm running into is a lot of let's just take this over here. What I'm running into now is I'm doing a lot of roofs over like containers, shipping containers and carports,
right,
and I'll
right.
have an LVL that runs all the way around.
Oh,
So
and you want to extend the
it would be
cladding.
kind of cool if we had a vertical offset for the.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've never actually had anybody ask me that before, so I'm going to add that to my list.
Oh,
So
that's
no,
cool.
that's a good. No, and that actually, I have a vertical offset, both top and bottom in the wall plugin for cladding, if you've noticed.
That's what I've
So
noticed because it's
yeah,
really handy because once you put that wall on top of your floor system, you
got a
need to
right.
be able to lower it. Um,
Yeah, over top of your rim joist.
where is it? Where
Yeah.
is it?
Keep scrolling down. It's down
Uh,
to the advanced options down there.
oh, it's in the
Yeah,
advanced options. So
under the wall cladding.
wall
Notice your
wall cladding,
vertical offsets there.
vertical
Yep,
offset. Yeah,
top and
top and
bottom. Yeah,
bottom. So normally we'll have to go at least 12 inches for a typical.
right,
And I just want to show people that because that's big too. Because now it's going to extend down over your foundation. Past
right,
your bottom plate and all that. And
right.
that's really handy. That's huge, and I use that a lot. And that's why I knew that to ask you about, or wanted to ask you about the. And
Yeah.
this and
So
it and what's
let me
funny
add
is
that in.
this is what happens to humans, right? We have this beautiful extension that saves us all this time, and then we get picky and we want to,
Well, no, no,
you know. But
and all these little features and things, and that's why when you click on the wall, when you click on that wall and you click that edit menu, there's a lot there, right? I mean, there's a whole ton of parameters,
yeah,
and
yeah,
part of that is because, you know, like yourself, there's people that are using it and they're saying, well, hey, I need this or I need that, and so I just keep adding more things. Granted, I take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt and say, well, if only 5% of the users are going to find this handy, then it doesn't get off. It usually doesn't get
Right.
added to the
And
list.
that's why I've never like tried to make special requests, because you know what, I'm honestly thankful that you've actually created this, and I don't want to, to
No,
me
no,
to me it's like, hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You just gotta,
well, no.
you
But
know,
what I guess what I'm trying to say though is no. But do make those requests, because I will then look at the request and say, well, hey, if it makes sense, let's add it, right? Because sometimes some requests I've received, yes, of course, they don't make sense, or they do make sense, but like I said, maybe a very small segment of the user base will actually find it handy. But sometimes, somebody hasn't requested before. I'm like, hey, that does make sense. So no, this offset, bottom offset for the cladding and the sheathing for that, for those gable ends, that could be very handy. So I'll definitely take that into consideration here.
the only other
From
thing and this is not a criticism at all, but
hmm
because again they're there, and you create these trusses as components. So
Right,
all I got to do is move these on the inside, but we put these on the inside because
right.
the building inspector requires us to.
Actually, that one is on my list already.
Yeah.
I just need to get it done.
No, no, it's
I'll-
okay. I mean, like I said, you got the trusses set up as components, so it's easy, to
yeah.
do. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of mention that I didn't know if that was a regional thing, but all the
It
building
actually
inspectors,
kind of is. Some people like
yeah.
them on the inside, some people don't, and so I just need to make an option so that you can
Well,
set wherever.
the
Yeah,
only thing about putting them out here is that when you're what we do is kind of a workflow thing. On a rainy day or a cloudy day, when we're going in and we're doing dead wood and stuff,
yeah,
then we'll have
yeah.
a laborer go around and put the truss, because we don't put them on when we're setting the trusses.
Right,
We put them on later, so it's usually somebody's walking around with a 6 foot step ladder or whatever, and they're nailing them on after the fact. So they're normally almost always on the inside of the wall. But again, I'm just glad they're there, and I like those are the exact Simpson ties that we use. So
right.
that's really kind of cool. One thing I did want to do before I forget is show your new whiz bang, which to me is going to be cool to use a lot, because I know. Let's see. I'm going to draw a quick, just a weird looking chimney here. How would I do that? It's just going to be weird. Well, I didn't mean to do that. I should have come up like that far and then just put a chimney in there for the fun of it. This is going to
Right.
be your additive thing or whatever. And I probably didn't bring that up high enough, did I? That should be at least up to there. But now let me make a group of that. And now this is kind of funny, because I don't know how many times I've had people move a chimney on me, right? Or
Right.
I want it on the other end of the house, or I need to. So now we got our chimney in the house, right? And let's see if I remember how to do this. Oh, I got to put it in the group, don't I? So I got
Yep.
to. So now I'm gonna cut that chimney. I'm gonna go in the roof, and I'm gonna cut it, paste it in place. Now you said, now I got to, let's see. I want to edit this. I want to put a tag name. I forgot. Honestly, I just forgot how to do it.
So the instant name you want to put it to subtract. Just type,
Subtract.
yeah, and honestly, you can name it whatever you want. Just need to make sure that keyword subtract is somewhere in the name.
So I could say subtract anything one, or
Chimney, whatever.
does it have to be
Yeah.
a unique instance name?
No, it doesn't even have to be unique.
Why did it disappear just now? That's weird.
I
Maybe
don't know.
maybe I can't use underscore. Subtract.
You can use underscore. I've used underscore a lot.
That's weird. It just literally disappeared. Okay, so I'm gonna go out of it before it disappears again. And now it should be right if I edit regen this roof, magically that it has cut a hole in the roof.
Right.
Now that sounds simple, but it's not as simple as you think. Especially because a lot of times I'll use my own custom like metal roofing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And how would I? How would that work if I have that? I haven't tested this yet. If I had my own metal roof in this group, would it interfere with? How would I have this chimney? Because again, I like geometry. Like, because when I print my drawings, I'm not going to have all this brown ink on my drawings, right? So
Right, right.
I have like a roofing profile. Like a lot of people are using, we use a lot of metal roofs. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got a real simple metal roof I put on, and it's a component because then if I change the length of it, they'll all change. If I put it in this group, will it cut it? It won't cut it out though, will it?
It should cut it out as long as it's a valid solid. So
Oh,
it
so
can.
it wouldn't have an instance name. So anything without that instance name of subtract is going to be cut.
You're right. Right.
Okay. So if I just let me test that out. And I know I'm not going to do this probably as fast as you would do it, but let's see. Let me just draw a piece of. Oh, what is wrong with me? See, I even had my.
To be perfectly honest, I have not. I have not tested the subtract feature against custom geometry, but
Okay.
and I will now. Now that you mention it, I'll go
But
back
the
and I'll.
reason, the other thing I wanted
It
to.
should. It should. It should work, and if it doesn't, then I'll fix it so it does.
Okay,
Essentially,
we'll just
what
leave
that
it.
allows you to
Yeah.
do is basically if you do have your own custom geometry within the assembly, then the subtract geometry will also subtract, from the standard geometry, but also subtract from the custom geometry. Yeah,
Now,
because a lot of people like yourself that they add in all kinds of stuff.
yeah,
The
yeah.
custom cladding, custom this, custom that, and then they want then you're going to want that subtract probably to remove that.
let's put this in here, and then we'll.
Yeah, test that out. I don't know. I honestly, I haven't. I actually haven't tested that particular
This
scenario.
doesn't get an instance name. It just becomes part of the.
Yeah,
So what I'll do, since I moved my chimney,
I think I'm just thinking about my logic right now in the code. I think it should work, but yeah, I don't know until we test it.
so I moved the chimney. That was a mistake. I should have at least figured out where I moved it to. Um,
It's it'll
yeah.
it'll
All right. So let's just do this.
and then make sure that group inside there is called custom something, right? So
Oh, okay. That was my question.
you got to make sure. Otherwise, it'll remove that group. So you want to change it. Make sure the custom keyword is in that group, so it
Custom,
retains it.
I don't know, flat, whatever.
So that's
Uh,
fine. Yeah.
and then okay. So now if we regenerate this, I think I probably screwed it up. Oh, I know did I put it in there? Yeah, it's in there. So what is it? Did I spell custom correctly?
I think you did. Let me. I think it might not be working, so that tells me that I need to check my logic
Well,
to make sure.
that wasn't really what I was going to ask you. Sorry, I was going to ask you. Um, and that's why I had the roof turned off, the sheeting. Is there a way to? Is there a way? I guess I could put it in a different layer. Like, because if I have a chimney here, now I'm going to stick build this part of the roof, right? Is there a way
Right.
to make this truss go away so that I can stick? You know what? One thing.
Yeah, they're actually
Let
you.
me go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you can put what you can do about something like that is basically you would put a subtractive geometry there that would essentially remove that entire truss.
Oh,
You
so
can.
you would create a group that took up the entire space of the truss,
basically the entire volume of the truss,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The entire volume of the
and then you
truss.
could have another subtract group like for the chimney itself, and that would actually, so you could remove the entire truss. In fact, I was talking to what's her name, Claire, I think it's Claire, on this forums the other day about that involving the wall studs, because we had figured out that you could actually just take a wall stud and rename it to custom, and then it will actually subtract out the wall, the regular wall studs when you regen the wall, which is handy if you just happen to want to, remove a particular wall stud in the group. So yeah, no, the subtracting is pretty powerful. I
No,
mean,
that's
you just gotta,
huge. I
you
don't
gotta
think.
just gotta play
Yeah.
around with it a little bit, and you'll quickly find out that, man, you can do some pretty creative things with it.
No, you.
But
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, one thing I don't think. Maybe I have not done this this custom thing properly. You know, um, but people once people realize that it's not that easy. Like, I mean, it's a pain in the butt to go in here because you're working with different angles and stuff. Well, first of all, just trying to select the roof itself. Yeah,
right, right.
I got to go in here and actually get close here and
Okay,
select
okay.
it.
Let me say this real quick though.
Okay.
So I'm actually just looking at my code right now, and I have it actually excluding labels, electrical assemblies, and custom geometry, so it will not subtract against them. But I can change that. I don't know why I set that up that way, but I can change it so that it won't exclude the custom geometry. I think the idea was that if I thought, well, maybe if you're adding custom geometry, like let's say you're adding something like I don't know, maybe an air conditioning unit or something on top of your roof, maybe you don't want the chimney subtractive geometry to cut a hole through that as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess the only other option would be to come up with a different tag or
or a label for one.
label for add or added to geometry
Yeah.
somehow.
So
You know.
I will give this. It's just a matter of literally like a couple characters in my code. But let me give this some more thought, because I think there is a situation where you do want it to subtract from custom type geometry, additive geometry in the model, and then there are situations where you don't. So
Yeah.
maybe I just need to have, like I said, another label that we can use for that other situation. So let me give that some thought. But the one thing that's interesting though is, okay, put that chimney back.
Let me go back here and get.
Actually, put the chimney back and put that little custom piece of cladding back as well, if you can.
Okay.
Okay. Now check this out. So go up into the global settings.
Oh, this is roof. Okay, gotta make sure I'm in the right global settings.
Okay. Now see up there where it says subtractive geometry.
Yes.
Okay. Click that and click sheathing there.
Oh.
Okay. Now hit save settings. Okay. Now close that out, and then now regen that roof.
But this not a doesn't that mean it wouldn't cut it out for the sheeting?
No. So that should mean that it.
Oh, that's weird because
it only cuts out for the sheathing and cladding, but that particular one should also cut out that other group
did I
too.
regenerate it?
Yeah, it regen.
Okay.
Double click into that group. Click that custom piece that you have there. I just want to make sure. You know what? That's not a solid. That's the problem.
What did I thought I created
a solid? I thought so too, but it doesn't appear to be a solid. Click out of it.
That's weird.
Is it a group within a group, or what? It's not, because it should be reporting a solid. If it's a solid, it won't subtract. Just remember, anything that's not a solid, it can't do the Boolean subtraction. So it has to be, a valid solid for it to actually make the subtraction. And you'll notice with all my geometry and my plugins, typically they're all they're all solids, because that way I can use
How do I
my
get this?
tools.
See, this is the most frustrating thing for me. It's just because I'm not like an expert. Okay, there we go. Now it looks like I don't have it coplanar somehow.
Oh, that's fine. We'll just it's
Yeah.
not.
Now if I bring this up, is that not supposed to be a solid?
Well, it should be. Now group all that. Make group.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a solid. I don't know why the other one wasn't a solid, but
That's weird, isn't it?
why the other one wasn't solid, I'm not sure why. But this one appears to be a solid now, right?
Let's see if I can. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You can move that however you need to.
Yeah. There we go. I'll just put it there. So we'll just pretend that that's in the right spot. And so now you're. Oh, I got to get it inside the group though. Let's see. I got to cut it.
Yeah.
Put it here and paste it back.
Okay. Make sure the name is custom, right? Otherwise, it's going to remove it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I deleted that. Oh, I didn't do that. Well, I don't know why I don't want it to be unique, but I'm just going to call it again.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Is that inside the group? Click out of the group for a second. Regen that group now. Yeah, regen that.
But that wouldn't this maybe let me just call it custom to keep.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to look at it, but
Yeah. But in any event, let me look at that one more time because I want to make sure I understand under global settings what would be the default for this.
well, default is turned off. It's turned off by default,
No,
which means
I don't mean. I mean, if I want to use it, it would be yes or sheeting.
Okay, so sheathing. Well, what happens is when you click sheathing, that means it's only going to subtract. It's not going to touch your trusses or anything else. It's only going to subtract the subtraction from the sheathing and cladding and the hip and ridge on top. That's it.
I think I like yes better.
And then the yes will subtract literally from everything.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
Some people might find that handy, some people not, but it gives you that option in case you just want it to take off.
You know what it reminds me of is I got to do something about that truss because obviously I can't have a truss going through a chimney, so I'd have to stick build that portion of it or something.
Portion, so, right. Yeah, I'll look at the custom thing with the subtraction. With the sheathing option, it should subtract, but again, I have never actually tested that really, so I'll have to run some tests on that. But I do know that in the regular when you have it selected as yes, it's purposely excluding any custom geometry from the subtraction. So again, I need to think. I'll give that some thought.
I think it might be I don't want people to think that it's just not working because it might be me, to be honest with you. But
well, no, it's the actual code. The code is set up so that it won't subtract it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not you.
I kind of wish I'm a little nerve wracked that something seems to be like it says I'm live streaming, but because I've never had a live stream where nobody actually showed up. It's kind of strange. But anyway, let's see. Well, what are the words of wisdom can you offer? Well, first, I just want to make sure that I thank you for doing. It's kind of funny because this kind of thing is the most thankless. Unless people have actually had to. It's all relative, right? Because I literally before I found your extensions, I literally hand drew, trusses, and of course I would create, I'd create a component, big deal, right? But guess what? The customer wants to change the pitch. Now you're creating a new truss, and so what if you got to, you know what I mean? You still got to go in and manually change it,
And that's where the power of the plugins come in.
Because
once I started making them parametric, where you could actually edit the assemblies, then it's like, holy crap, we can save some time now because, when you start drawing all this by hand, heavens, if you change the pitch on that roof, everything changes. So now you've got new subfascia, you've got roof, the cladding, the sheathing, the soffit,
Right.
everything changes.
Yeah.
So it's just, it becomes, even the most minor roof changes becomes a nightmare for people.
What's funny is too,
So,
since you're an engineer, you know how these cords, these webs should be configured. It's kind of funny because my truss guy got confused one time because he thought I was sending him a truss drawing, because I always do, on my drawings, my construction drawings, I'll have a typical truss, right? Because
right.
a lot of these owners don't know how to order trusses, right? So I'll do a sheet that's just roof framing and it'll have a truss drawing. Well, I just took a picture of that, just the truss, and sent it to my truss guy, and he was like, "Well, what are you talking to me for? It's already designed." And I said, "Oh, that's my that's my extension, my plug-in." And it's kind of funny because every time I get a set of trusses back, it's almost exact. It's almost a duplicate of what you've gotten.
Well, with certain of these truss types, like this Fink truss and a Howe truss, and the more commonly used trusses, I've I hate to say it, but I've spent way too much time studying how these different companies lay these things out, and I've spent enough time looking at that and researching it, that no, these trusses are probably laid out exactly as you're going to get them from the truss company, unless there's some sort of asymmetrical loading situation or
Right,
something.
right,
Um,
and obviously, there was standard, what, 2010 or whatever, dead load, live load. It's not like
right,
we're not building, we're not doing these homes in Alaska. Usually I have a note in the trust drawings that say,
right.
verify for local conditions or whatever. But
But yeah,
they're really
darn
good.
close.
I'm just trying to say that most customers are really impressed with the fact that this looks real. Uh, you know,
The plate sizing, I don't, now I will say that they're not engineered, because I'm not, granted we can get
right,
in a whole discussion about that, but like, for instance, like on this Fink truss, you've got different plates, right? Shown there.
right,
Those are representative. They're pretty, they're going to be pretty darn close to what you get when you order a truss like this, but those are not engineered. I mean, they will vary just depending on your local site conditions. Like if you're building somewhere in Truckee, or someplace where they get a lot of heavy snow, think it's going to drastically change the layout of those trusses.
but
So
the thing is, for the most part, people can look at this and see kind of what kind of attic space they're going to have.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty close. It's pretty good. It's pretty close because
yeah,
I've built thousands of houses, and I know what
yeah,
these things look like. When they're built, and
yeah.
I'm just trying to compliment you and thank you for doing all this work, because this is it's
It's
just
taken a while.
it's a and the coolest thing is the oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to edit it. Are the structural, and this is how I show people. I've always shown people how to build these. Are
Hmm.
the structural outlooks, the
Structural
where
outlook.
you automatically, I can't see, my eyes are all watering. Here we go. Where you have the truss dropped on the. This is so accurate. Um,
Right.
this is basically exactly how we would build it. You know, with the drop truss, and then this, obviously the over
Little piece popping out there.
little
Yeah.
rafter to create the overhang. It's
Hmm.
exactly how we would do it, and so it's really nice because it's easy to explain. Because when I would do this, sometimes I would get lazy when I would draw my own trusses, and I would just put a truss out there, and I would say, now what you need to do is, this. Well, they would end
Right.
up building it like this. Well, like, just the regular outlooks, the lookouts. Um,
Yeah.
and people don't like cutting in. Now, obviously on a house line truss, a gable end truss, where it's not load bearing necessarily, and you got these 2x4s for the studs or whatever. you can. We used to notch in the lookouts right here, right above that.
Hmm.
So you can do
Yeah.
it, but they're real nervous about it. So I can show them this and say, this is the best way to do it because it's more sound. You can put a
Yeah.
lot of weight on this overhang, and it's not going to. I don't know
Yeah.
how
No.
many. I don't know how many overhangs I've stood on and they bounce.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
if you've got over 12 inches of overhang, I recommend you definitely should do structural outlookers.
yeah.
It's just more sound, and I mean, especially when you're talking like some of these houses, they get up 3 stories. I don't want to be standing out on that overhang when you're 3 stories up and and that overhang's bouncy. You know what I'm
No, I've
saying?
literally fallen. I've literally was doing re-roofing a two-story apartment
Hmm.
building one time when I was in my 20s, and it had a
Yeah.
3 foot overhang, and this building was already 20 years old, and it gave way, and I fell in the back of the dump truck.
Oh,
So I
gee.
have a soft spot in my heart for this kind. I like this
That
overhang, but
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think and obviously I've spent some time trying to get that to obviously to model it like that. I've probably spent way too much time doing that. But my thing has been with this extension is, uh, you know, I look at a lot of other ways people model roofs and stuff, and some other extensions out there, and I don't name names or anything, but and some of them are pretty accurate, and some of them are not. But my contention has always been I don't want it to be just a cartoon. I want it to be as close to reality as possible, within reason, of course. Um, so, a guy, that is trying to show his customer how to frame it actually up can say, yeah, take a look at the model. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to do. And if you can do that with a model, well, then, a model is worth a million words, in my opinion.
oh, it is, and a lot of times I won't actually volunteer to do those drawings. What I'll do is I'll upload their model onto turn this. Now this is the glorious thing about the folders. Boom, roof's gone. Um, is that I can now that I know I can set these views up. I'm not going to volunteer to do these drawings anymore. I'm just going to say, look, go hit this view, go hit this scene button called Wall 8 or whatever. Wall, what is that?
Mhm.
I can't even see. My eyes are watering up. Um, and that's you'll have it. And then
Right.
of course if they press me, I'll print make it so they can print it. But that's that's great features and it's great work and
Well,
it's just a really good extension. I
there's
appreciate it.
and again, like I was telling you earlier, there's still a lot more to be done with these extensions. For one, the estimating piece and the engineering piece, I'm only really starting now to get into those. So even though these are, you can do quite a bit with them now, a lot of time savings. There's a lot more that can be done, and I probably got another 5, maybe even 10 years worth of work. I mean, ultimately, I would like to bring somebody on board to help me with some of the development, and I actually was before COVID started to really consider that. But if we can get past this pandemic, of course, I probably will bring on some help, because there's just I mean, already in this discussion, I've already written down like 5 things or so that I've that need a I would love to add. You know what I mean? I mean, like with the windows and the doors, that copy tool would sure be a handy little feature. The offset tool for the gable end cladding of the trusses. So they're all works in progress. But certainly, I don't care who you are, whether you're a professional builder or a professional contractor or just a do it yourselfer. If there's a feature you want added, shoot me an email. Don't be afraid to. I mean, worst case scenario, I decide not to add the feature. But if I look at it and say, yeah, a lot of guys could find this really useful, then I'll do it. I'll add it in. You know.
Well, and
So
it's kind of funny. I wanted to mention too, right quick, for somebody that hasn't seen your extensions, you also have the foundation, which is huge. You could spend, 2 or 3, I could do 2 or 3 interviews on just that one alone. So
yeah, no,
I encourage people to go and check them out because, I just sat here and whipped out a slab,
mhm.
that obviously is not accurate, but I just wanted to quickly show that you do have the foundation, and I like the I like the actual stem walls. Let's see. That's the found. Let's see, because you also have the foundation vents and everything put in there, which is pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to draw it to the right size. I'm just going to say. Now, one thing I want to tell people is don't get all tied about. Don't. The first time I saw all these parameters, just say okay and okay. Just go through, and you can
Yes,
all.
or the default first, and then you start.
Yeah.
Once you start figuring out everything, then play. You can.
And you say, oh, I want foundation vents. So.
Right.
Well, I forgot where the foundation vents are. Are they under the? Where are they? Are they under the advanced?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to look too.
Oh, here
right
they
there.
are. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And then of course, we here the ones that we use here. Once you turn those on, you can go down here and
yeah.
Where is it? The wall. We put ours at the top of the wall. Is it here? Location.
You can adjust the top distance. Yeah, click all walls in that. Top distance. Yeah, you can do. I think you can do 0. I've never actually tried that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's where we put. That's where we put ours. Right. And then. But you have the vents too, don't you?
What's that?
Yeah, vent insert.
I don't remember if I did.
Yeah, you do. You do. No, it's really good. That's what I'm trying to show people.
I can't even remember if I've added that or not.
I thought you did. I thought you had the. I thought you did edit. What isn't it? Vent insert plastic? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
What is this? My eyes are really going bad now. Vent location.
That puts it on certain walls. Just click all walls.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, it's just placing it around the foundation.
But anyway, I just wanted to show, and you can go in and control the top bar. The bars in here. It's what's funny is sometimes I'll when I get to a certain point, I'll actually use this for a concrete block foundation. And let's see, did you have that actually? Is that an option too? Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll just, when I get through with it, I'll explode it and just change the texture on it to a concrete block.
Yeah, you can do that. Also, now with the stem wall foundation, there's I can get into a whole discussion on it, but there's the legacy tool, there's the legacy tool, and then there's a polyline tool. Okay. Yeah. So the one that you use is the legacy tool, and the reason why I have that one is there's some contractors in Oregon that still use it a lot. But actually, if you go, let's have you create real quickly. Go to back to the extensions menu item there. Yeah, go to the let's see. Go down to the Medeek stem wall foundations menu item. Yeah, right there. Okay, so there's a draw polyline stem wall. Click that one.
Okay.
Okay, so now just go ahead and draw yourself.
I see. It's going to draw it as you go.
Yeah. This one's a little different than the other one. It limits you to a rectangle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas this one will give you.
Let me just do. I'm just going to do an L shape here, just for the fun of it.
Yeah, you don't even have to close it out. You can have just an open.
What am I doing wrong?
I'm not sure.
What am I doing? Okay, foundation, stem wall foundations, polyline.
Yeah. Scroll down the settings real quick on the menu. Let me just make sure that there's nothing blank or something there. No, it looks like it's good.
Because I don't know why I haven't used that option yet.
Well, that is there. It is the new one.
Now, should I just be hitting spacebar?
Oh, hit enter. No, you're not space. You got to hit enter.
Oh, okay. That's the difference.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I got it. And so what you're saying is they like being able to trace with what's the difference between the polyline and just what I did over here?
Well, the old one has some limitations. Okay. The new one has more options available to it. And eventually I'm going to retire the old one, and then you'll just have this one. But click edit on that. And let me show you here. Probably your vent links are too lush, or your wall links too long. They're probably not going to draw the
Where is the vent? Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But the sections of lengths are too short, so
Let's
it won't
go up
add.
here and
But go
say,
to stem wall type right up top where it says stem wall type concrete.
uh-huh.
Now click
Oh,
CME.
okay, okay.
Now hit OK on that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And of course the top one I haven't quite figured out how to make that quite right. It's tricky.
What's that?
But I mean, it's not creating separate blocks. It's just putting a texture on it for you, really.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. And see, now
Yeah.
what's funny is, I don't mind, for some reason, I don't mind that showing up, that texture showing up. I think it's probably because it's worth not having to do, individual blocks.
Oh yeah, no, and that's
But
why
I
I
don't.
don't do that.
For some reason, in some of my drawings, I've shown it like this, and it looks fine.
Right.
But I still have the mixture of like doing my own roofing because I just don't. I can go in here and edit that texture
Right.
and make it a lot lighter. And it's still not too heavy on the drawing. But obviously, if I were to print this, the sheet would weigh a pound of ink.
Oh,
So,
right.
So anyway, that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the polygon stem wall tool is the new up and coming tool, and like I said, that's the one you really want to use.
so
generally.
which one is this one is the
Yeah.
the polyline?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the four items in here are part of the new stem wall foundation module, and so you got the interior bearings, you got the stem wall step, and then of course you got the segment part. But the old tool is the one where it just says stem wall foundation. And at some point, I'm going to probably either move that into subfolder somewhere, so it's not as visible, because I actually don't want people to use the old legacy tool as much, just because it has some limitations. But I mean, it works. It has limitations.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been using it, and I haven't found anything wrong with it. The nice thing about it is with the footings and everything already up there, it saves a lot of work. All of it saves a lot.
And it's fully parametric, so if you need to edit your footings, make them wider, thick, deep, or whatever, or make the step.
I don't know. I don't want to take up your whole day, but how do you? If I was going to add if I wanted to add a step in this footing, can you do it after? Let's see. Like if I wanted to add a step on this corner, is that something I can do, or is it something I would have had to have done? But this is the legacy one.
The legacy one, no. The legacy one doesn't. So that's where the new one comes in, because when you're starting to add steps, you're actually adding them as separate assemblies. So I mean, I have whole videos on that explaining.
Okay, I'll watch that. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you're not. They're actually separate assemblies adjacent to each other, and so it's not one big assembly for the foundation. It's different parts and pieces that all come together.
Okay, so the footing, this footing might stop, and then the other one steps down, or the other, that kind of thing.
Another one connects to it and has a step, and then you have another segment of regular stem wall.
And what do? Just hide the lines that are where they connect or something, or
right,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool.
And you have that option to turn on the hide lines. Actually, let me show you that. Edit that little piece right there. Just click. Go ahead and edit it. But not the outline. You're trying to edit the outline. There's a button. Edit stem wall. Edit stem wall foundation. That's the outline. Yeah, you're clicking too quick. The very top one. Not regen, edit. Yep, that one.
What in the world? Okay.
Well, you've got edit outline, you've got the regen, you've got the edit, and you've got one other option.
I'm trying to skim and click the wrong one. Yeah.
Okay. So right there it says hide edges. Notice where it says hide edges?
Right here.
Yeah, turn that on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now when you put that adjacent to another section, it's going to hide those edges, and you're not going to see them in it, and it's going to visually it'll look like it's the same, the same chunk of concrete.
Oh, so that's just this edge. It's not. Right. It's not vertical edge, not the horizontal. Because you kind of sometimes when you're like cutting through or something, you want to be able to see the cut. I guess that would be part of the cut function.
Right, but this what the height edges does is it allows you now to put like a step or put another piece of stem wall right, connected to it, and
Yeah.
visually it looks like it's all one big.
Did you take a photograph of a block? Because that looks like almost like a photograph of a.
Yeah, no, the image comes from a photograph. I don't remember where. I didn't take a photograph. I grabbed it online
Oh,
somewhere.
okay. Because
Yeah,
that's pretty accurate. It's kind of funny.
yeah, it looks pretty decent.
It's really good.
Yeah, I mean it's not 100%, but
It's close enough, right? I mean, it's. I'll tell you how close it is. It's close enough to be able to count the block, and it's accurate.
yeah. And
I was.
if you actually turned on your labels for the, I don't think you have them turned on right now, but let me. If in the global settings, if you turn on your labels, I think it's off. Let's see where are your labels. Turn on your callouts. Foundation label callouts right there. Third one down in the center section, annotations. Yeah, turn that on. Hit save settings. Okay, and then regen that bad boy right there. Yeah, regen that. Regen. Okay, now rotate a little bit. Let's see if we can find this. The label will be in the center somewhere. I don't see the label. Where is it?
What did I regenerate it from?
I think it did. I think we just need to turn on the other. Go back to the thing. Let's turn on all the other settings there, just so we make sure we have them. Call outs. Turn on all the call outs there, just so we have them on.
Even in 2D mode, or
yeah, turn both those on just to make sure that's not
okay.
Something there might be. I don't remember. I can't remember which one it is exactly.
There we go. There's a 2D.
Oh, I think go back one more time. Sorry, I forgot one last thing.
That's all right.
Go back to global settings. Let's see. Turn on the construction callouts too.
Construction callout right here.
Yeah, turn that one on. Yeah, again, save that again. Okay. All right, regen that one.
I gotta get there.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now
I see. Like if it was a poured wall,
we wouldn't show you the CMU.
Yeah.
So now it's giving you the cubic yards of the footing, and it's also giving.
When I saw cubic yards, I was thinking, yeah, that's for the footing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's also giving you the CMU number of blocks.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, I guess, and that's if you've got the CMU type turned on. If we change it to,
if we change it back to the whatever concrete, then it's.
Why do I keep doing that?
You're clicking.
I never do that.
Don't forget. Notice the third one down says "Edit Stem Wall Outline." So
I know, but I never do that. I've never actually seen that little menu pop up either.
Yeah, no, it's there. It's there.
No, I've never. It's just that's what's weird. So what did I do? Why is the wall not showing up though? I wonder.
Not sure on that.
Let's see. Edit stem wall. I turned it to concrete. Let's turn it back to CMU.
I don't know why it's not showing up. That's really bizarre.
I have this effect on everything, right? I'm like antimatter for software. I would be a good test for them. But anyway, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's something. Oh, it's probably just go to the foundation layers tags. I think that's
probably what it is.
It might have. When you did the edit outline, it automatically turned off that layer under foundations. Up under number 2. I think it's.
I didn't know it was already up there though.
Yeah, turn on the foundation concrete and back on.
There we go.
Now, if you change that to concrete, just don't hit the edit outline because it tried to auto turn off that layer. That's what happened. Just turn off layers and we don't even know.
Okay, so cool. Now that's still cubic yards of the footing, not in the wall, right?
Yeah, I think that should be showing the cubic yards total.
Let's see.
I'm curious why that's not showing though.
Let's see. Do I have something else? Would it be here? I've just got it turned off. Let's see.
No, I might want to check that. I don't know why that's not showing the full total yard.
I'm gonna guess it's something that I did.
No, it might be a bug. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll I'll take a peek at that actually to see if
But
there's
in
something
any
about it.
event, there's all these features that are shortcuts for your workflow. That's really the bottom line I'm trying to get across. And
Yeah.
and well, I thank you for doing this. I wish there had been people that would. Oh look, Night Strike finally caught you live. Okay, yeah, Night Strike is a friend of mine. He helps me with computer. He's a really good guy. He's like an IT type guy. Uh, and but I was glad to see him because I was worried that we weren't actually live streaming because there was no. That's the first time I've ever had not one person in like an hour. That was really bothering me. But
Hmm.
well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this: is there anything that you want to show? Um, what do you see? What is the number one thing that people talk to you about or ask you about with your extensions? Is there something that sticks out in your head? Well,
Well,
I'll tell you one thing that bugs me is this issue that nobody can seem to. You see how you can see objects behind, and I know this is not a, it's not your deal or it's not a SketchUp deal, right? It's the way graphics work. See
right,
how you don't see the studs, but now you do
right,
behind
yeah.
it. That's always been annoying to me. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I just
No,
want.
that I don't know. I don't know if that's a SketchUp thing or if that's just a purely graphics card thing. But you're right. When you zoom out far enough, you start seeing whatever's underneath, especially if it's a thin layer, right, or
Yeah.
thin geometry.
And what's funny is I'll get to this perfect view that I want, and there'll be the studs, and I'll have to go. Now it's easy to you can go in and
Just
turn off the the layers. What's is it stud? Oh, that was roof framing. I don't have all the new layers in the right place yet, but just to let people know, you just if that happens, and this is one thing nice about all these millions of layers you complain about, right? So if I got a view that I want a perfect view, right, and I gotta have it like that, I can't have it any other way.
hmm
You can just go, or if I want it far off like that, just go and turn off that layer, and then you just update your scene, and now you don't have to deal with it anymore. And so that's the pleasure pain behind having a million. Because see, I grew up, obviously, I've been drafting since I was 17 years old, and
Right.
this would be the death of me. I would get fired if I had created this many layers in a
Well,
drawing. But
it's a typical 2D drawing. Yeah, you typically don't need that many layers,
yeah,
and you don't have an explosion of layers because it does get harder to manage. But so typically, even now, when I make an AutoCAD drawing up, I'll maybe have one layer for annotations, one layer for title block type stuff, and then one kind of object layer where I put all my actual like walls
right,
and all that stuff
right,
on, and then I might have one layer for like dashed lines or something. But see here in a 3D environment where we're it's getting a little more granular because we're grouping things, on framing. We're saying, okay, we want something for the trim, we want something for the interior trim or the casing. We want something for just the windows so we can turn all the windows off at once or turn all the doors off at once. So I think in my mind, I mean, we can complain about the layer numbers, but with a 3D model like this, you do, I think, want that granularity because I don't think it's totally unmanageable either. I mean, once you get over 50 plus layers, then it starts to get a little bit cumbersome. But, if you're around 25, 30 layers,
well,
I
and
think that's reasonable.
yeah, and here's what I do when I get through with a drawing. You obviously can just go, where is it,
Yeah, you
and
purge it
delete.
out.
Where
Yep.
is it? Purge
Purge
unused.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you saw the thing change there, and then you
hmm
can expand. You can go and expand all and see how it got cleaned up all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and the
So
plugin will create all these layers, and it's okay to purge once in a while because the plugin will just recreate the layers it needs
right.
if they're not present, right? But yeah, I mean, you're right. You just purge it out at the end or when often as you like, really.
Yeah, I guess
And
my message is to people who haven't used this and are thinking about getting it is that it's don't be intimidated by all of this.
right.
You know, just go ahead. It'll be fine. You'll get into this sort of mode where you're used to everything, and once you start getting used to it, you will see how much time you'll save. You know, it,
Well,
it's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
the defaults typically, they're defaults for a reason. They're typically, something that's you're not going to necessarily want to change. But as you become more used to the plugins and all these parameters actually mean, then start changing things up to suit whatever your needs are. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the defaults just don't overly stress about it. Just leave them as they are and roll with it to start with.
Well, and yeah, because the the chances of you actually having to change them that much is pretty slim.
Right.
Because the
Yeah.
thing about it is, once you fix that, let's say I just do that one wall, and I
Mhm.
get it fixed right. That when I start drawing the rest of those walls, it's going to have those attributes assigned to it.
Right. That's
Uh,
true.
so it's not that big of a deal, you know. Even if you're not creating custom wall types, you can still get that one wall the way you want it and just then roll with it from there. You know,
Mm. Yep. That's true. And then the copy tool gives you the ability to essentially copy.
the copy tool just created heaven on earth for me because you don't know how many times I've had to go back and people uh, want to
Change
change.
stuff up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those pet peeves of most designers is their client always wants to. They get halfway through and then they're like, "Well, no, we're going to do this now." So
Well,
I totally.
I kind of actually interrupted you earlier because I had thought of a question, but was there one thing that you get like that sticks out in your mind?
Oh, yeah. So I get a lot of questions about a lot of things, to be honest. But lately, as the geometry of all the plugins has matured to the point, where I've got most of the geometry under control, and most of the parameters and features that people need or want, like offsets and different things like that. The attention now has been turning to estimating. So, and that's why this last few weeks I've been turning my attention to that. Um, you know, People really need to be able to get those numbers. So, if you noticed on the forums lately, I just did an update for the truss plugin for rafter roofs, so you can get the actual, all the jack rafters, all the lengths, all that good stuff. So that's my focus probably for the next few weeks, maybe even a couple of months. Is I really want to beef up the Medeek estimating module, which by the way is part of the the wall plugin right now. And eventually I will probably move it into a separate kind of add-on plugin to all, because basically it works with all of the extensions. But the estimator is certainly a work in progress, and I'm doing a lot more work on it now.
What do you do? Select all and then calculate?
Yeah, and then just hit calculate.
Well, that ain't right. I have never used this,
Well,
and I
you better,
spend like
you better
20,000 hours doing this.
well,
On-
you better start using it because it's only going to get better. And then,
wow.
once you do that, you click on the little icon up there and it'll save the file out as a CSV, and you can take the CSV straight into Excel or any other spreadsheet program
Where
and
is the icon that you're talking about?
scroll up all
Oh,
the way to
right
top.
here, right here.
Yep. You just
Oh,
download that.
that's
That'll,
awesome.
that'll spit
So
out
we
your
got inch and a half by 3.5 by length, quantity,
yeah.
lumber. Well,
And
that's
and this
awesome.
and this what's showing you there is kind of just a preview screen. So it's not showing you all the details. It's just giving you a quick spitting out some of the information. When you actually create that CSV file and you open up in Excel, you're going to see there's even more. There's more information within that.
Now,
Within that.
I do have one question for you that I don't understand, and that's why you put the. Well, I guess I do understand because when you create the window, you also have to create the framing. But that framing I noticed was in the window category. Where was that? Where am I? Wall tools. Wait a minute. Where's again? My eyes are failing me. Wall estimating. There we go. So select all. Calculate. I noticed that you have under the window two 2x10s. So that when you, I guess it does it by group or.
Yeah, so it's assigning. It's basically reporting that data for each window because each window is going to have a header. It's going to have its trimmers and its king studs.
Right. I guess
jack studs, steel studs. It's going to have. So it's basically grouping it, keeping it all together for each opening.
I gotcha. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes it more organized. There's again the estimating module I started about 2 years ago. I never really fleshed it out. I added a few things. I really only worked on it for about a week. And then after that, I moved on to other more important things at the time. But now, just like I said, in the last week or two, I've returned now, circled back. I'm working on the estimating module. There's more that needs to be done. And so that's why I'm working on it. I've got to figure out, what else we need to
that's awesome.
Get done more productive. But yeah, I mean, and it's this is what people are asking for. This is what people want. This is what people need, honestly.
Well, yeah. and I have.
One thing I should point out too. Now, if you looked at the output for that estimating, and you looked at the cladding and the sheathing of that truss roof, right? Scroll down to not the walls, but down to the truss. Okay. So you can see that the net area and the total area are different on one side of the roof. And you'll notice
because of the subtractive.
Yes. So it's taking that into account. It's actually, when you use subtractive geometry, it's actually it's calculating. Okay, here's the total area of that roof, but then you've also got this piece removed because of the subtractive geometry. So
that would come into play more like if you had a dormer on one side and not the other.
Yeah, really.
But I mean, if I, as an estimator, I wouldn't subtract the area because the way the sheets might work out, I would just. That's funny thing about estimating is that we would just figure the total. We would just figure this whole big rectangle and not take out any.
Well, that's why I give you. But that's why I give you both.
Yeah.
And I give you the net area, and you're right. I mean, in something like that small, you wouldn't worry about it. But you're right. If you had a big dormer,
a big shed dormer on one side, it would remind you that I don't need to double. I don't need to double the sheeting from this side to get this side.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
that's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's where I'm going with that. I just the rafter, the rafter one is kind of cool. I just barely pushed that out. I think it's a 2.88 on the truss plugin.
There's Vanessa. Vanessa Kitty is another friend of mine. She's watching. Thank you, Vanessa. Let's see. What were you saying about the rafter?
Which version of the truss plugin do you have installed? Actually, I'm just curious.
Let's see.
Go to your global settings real quick.
Let's see. Oh, well, I was going to go to the extension manager. Let's see. Go to. Let's see. Go to global settings.
You got 2. Okay, so you don't have the latest and greatest, but if you did, you could use. Well, I've been updating every day, so
okay.
I'm ahead of you. I'm way ahead of you.
What version is it?
I'm releasing versions so quickly that you won't even be able to keep up.
That's great.
No, actually, I have been releasing a lot lately, so you're probably behind on the wall plugin as well.
What is the 2.8?
The latest is 2.88.
Oh, good Lord.
Huh. Yeah, and then the wall plugin, I just released another update on that because of because I've been updating the estimating module. So, anyways, but yeah.
And the other thing people should realize is because normally people would freak out over that many updates, but your global settings stay the same, right?
Oh, everything stays the same. Yeah, it's designed, and I've slowly made it that way because of of all the updates, obviously.
No, that's great, and I want people to know that don't be afraid to stay up to date because your global settings are fixed.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
when you uninstall the extension and reinstall the extension, because that's how you have to do it to upgrade. Your global settings remain from the previous. They don't change. Now you can reset them, but again, that's only if you reset
I
them. You
could have
don't
sworn I've installed it over before. I
have.
think you can. I think you can get by with installing it over. I'm not gonna encourage people to do that. But
No, I don't. I don't encourage. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So
yeah,
when you,
I've gotten lucky before when I've literally gone and installed the downloads just from here,
yeah,
and it worked. But you're right; it's probably not the best thing to. I think that's
yeah,
from my initial fear of losing like global settings. I didn't want
right,
to, but
right.
so that's good. You won't lose because those are obviously kept in different files that don't get deleted or overwritten, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So no, just again. So if you are upgrading, uninstall the extension, download the new one, and then install fresh the new extension or the upgrade. Sorry,
Yeah.
because sometimes I don't know why, but I've found in the past if you do install on top of the existing extension, it doesn't for some reason it might miss a file or two and leave the old one there. I'm not sure why, but I've run into that before.
See,
No,
I'm a good test case because I have all these bad habits. You see.
well, we got a huge jury over your butt. Anyways,
All right. Well, thanks, Nathan. I appreciate your. Maybe sometime you can come back in a few month or a few months, and
yeah, give me a few more months of updates, and then
yeah,
let's see where we get with this with all these upgrades I'm doing on the estimator, and maybe we can show you some really cool stuff. You know what I mean? Once we get it
yeah,
a
that would
little,
be awesome. That would be awesome. Let me
yeah.
let me brag just for a minute. Let's see. Let me just show. Let's see if I can do this quickly. How I kind of let's see. Well, I'll save it for another time. Never mind. Sorry. I was going to show you how I categorize my because that's one thing I have been doing for a long time, like 40 years, is estimating and material list. And
Hmm.
I was going to show you how to do my categories. But anyway, never mind. That's all boring stuff. But anyway, thanks a lot, Nathan. I appreciate you coming on. I've always wanted to interview you. Reason, in life we have people who can program, and then we have people like me who can build stuff. And it's very rare. To me, it's rare that you find somebody that can do both. You know what I mean? Who understands really anybody. It's rare that somebody can get these this close with all the different studs and plates and rafters and whatever, and still
Hmm.
be able to program the thing at the same be able to put that into an extension is
Well, I tend to agree with you, but at the same time, as an engineer, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not so much. I guess it's not so much the engineering, but it's just the right mindset of uh, somebody that is motivated enough, I guess, that really wants to build. Because the code itself, it's not that hard, honestly, but it's tedious over,
yeah,
sometimes.
it's
And
tedious, and you have to have the
right.
desire and the will to do it because it gets down
It,
to where it's
it,
just mind numbing work at some
it
point.
can it
You know,
can become tedious at times,
yeah,
and that is a big turnoff, to a lot of guys, a lot of engineers, that like doing the engineering, but they don't want to dig into the code too much.
yeah,
But honestly, for me, I don't mind the code so much, but it's just seeing that code actually, the reward of seeing, hey, look, I got the code written. Now look, I just generated, this cool 3D geometry, and that is very rewarding to see that, your code can generate that level of complexity. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. No, it makes it very real. You know,
Yeah, yeah, and
uh,
and that's where I find it almost addictive in a sense, because it's fun as heck to write the code and then have it
I,
like magically just create all this cool stuff. You know what I mean, in SketchUp.
I'll say
So
this too. A lot of people spend a lot of money to get to do to get into sort of rendering type stuff, right? And when you have an extension like this that gets it so close to reality, you really don't need to worry about. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making a good point here. You'll notice that some people take geometry from SketchUp and they'll create a rendering out of it because they can't get a decent view. You know, they can't portray that model from SketchUp decently. Does that make sense? So they go they go to V-Ray or something like that to create a translation of it that shows other people what they want to portray, right?
Right.
Well, this when you have an extension like this that creates things with such accuracy as they are in real life, you really don't need to worry about renderings per se. I've had some,
I guess if you want some sort of ambiance or something, I understand the whole rendering thing, but at the same time, you're kind of right. I mean, just looking at your screen right now, I mean, I get the gist of the building, right?
What I'm saying is I can, this is a little project map I have, and if I just pick out, that's probably not a good example, but let's pick, like this. This is just a model with the shading turned on, but it looks like a rendering.
Yeah,
to me it does.
This is more than adequate. I don't know why you need all the fancy rendering.
The reason it is because it's accurate to reality, and the closer you can get your model to reality, the less you need other tools. Is what I'm trying to get at,
Right.
So I don't need to go get another extension to try to make this look like a shed or a house because it already looks like one, because of how accurate. Because and people ask me this all the time. When I was younger and I was working for an architecture firm, and then we had architects who didn't know how. Excuse me. They literally didn't know how to make a house look like a house because they didn't know how it was built. Right. They didn't know that this soffit is nailed to the in this case is nailed to the bottom of the trusses and that's where it goes, right? It doesn't. That soffit doesn't go down here. You know what I mean? And when architects are just drawing pictures, they're not very accurate. And I know I'm on a tangent here, but I guess my compliment is that this extension is so the objects are accurate to size, dimension, and the way they're put in the drawing makes it look real, and that's what's important to me. I don't really care about all the pretty picture, the prettiness of it necessarily. I want it to be accurate, and I think
that has always been my intent from the beginning. Again, I don't care for the cartoon. I want it to be as accurate almost as I would build it, dimensionally accurate, right? Yeah. So I can literally take that model, put the little ruler on it, and snap and find a dimension. Say, okay, that's the dimension from here to here, and I know that it's right and it should be right.
I had one customer. He was like, I forgot how you told me to set the trusses again, or what the first because I had an offset in the layout, and I said all you got to do is go and turn the layers off, turn the roofing off, and the sheeting. And that's how you're building it. That's it right there. It's right there in front of you. And for some reason he got the impression that this was just like art, and what I was trying to get him to do was build a house. No, this is your house. This is 3.5 inches wide.
1.5
by inch and a half. Thick, and that's it. And so I think there's a disconnect sometimes between architecture and real life, and this starts to connect that.
Yeah. The funny thing is I had another incident too, interesting in a little whatever. I had a contractor, and he had used the truss plugin to do like a hip rafter roof, I think it was, with all the jack rafters and the hip rafters. Everything. So he drew it up with the plugin, and he said he took the actual, the dimensions right off the model, and he pre-cut every single one of his rafters, all the jack rafters, the hip rafters, everything. He says, I went ahead and he says, I thought I'd trust it. And he says, I pre-cut them all. I said, wow, that's a risky business, man. Because typically, when you're making a rafter roof like that, you're on site, you're measuring, then you're cutting, then you're measuring. He says, surprisingly, he says, I took it out there. He says that thing fit together just like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, and that's funny.
Nothing was off by more than a 16th of an inch, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and see on hips and things, a lot of that will determine a hugely amount on the layout, right? Because
Right.
if you start your 16-inch layout from the left and you go this way, well, each one of those valley rafters are going to be a different length, right? So
Right.
but the thing is, you got your model. You can measure what your layout is and how you start out. It's kind of funny. It's like you said earlier. That it's more this model is more than 1,000. It's not like a picture. It's more. There's more than 1,000 words in here.
No, it's a 3D picture,
Yeah.
and when it's 3D, it's literally as good as real life if it's modeled correctly. It can be,
Yeah.
So that's the goal in my mind. Yeah.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say if someone's new in construction and they bought this extension, they can actually learn a little bit about actually how things are built. It's accurate enough to where it's not like your typical software where it's just like a representation.
Right.
You can actually learn from this. Learn from it, and that's why I think it's kind of cool. So.
Yeah, I think it has that potential. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. I'm gonna
Yep.
run, and I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you doing this. It's been fun for me, and I'm trying to get back to where I can.
No, and I learned a few things too, and I've taken some notes. So I've got some things here I need to look into, and some new features potentially from this conversation. So no, it's been my pleasure to sit down and talk with you about all this.
Well, I will. Again, I appreciate everything that you're doing with this, and I will catch you next time. I won't bother you again for a while, but I do appreciate all the work you've done, and thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you so much, Tony.
All right. We'll see you. Thanks, Nathan.
Mhm.
All right, see you.